This is Josh Beiser from GameWisdom.com. Hope you enjoy this Critical Thought, your daily discussion on game design. And be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and you can pitch future Critical Thought topics. Alright everybody, before we begin with today's Critical Thought, I asked you guys a few days ago regarding what kind of thumbnail art or design you like for the channel, and so far no one's complained about what I used for the final Bloodborne videos. And if there aren't any problems with it, I think going forward for video spotlights or series where there is a lot of game footage, I'll probably do something similar for each episode. Have the name of the game or the episode number, and have it in that kind of style there. I kind of like having it slanted to the side like that on the left hand. I think it looks a little fancier. Now, of course, I won't go back to just having plain thumbnail art. I like to have at least something on there. But if you have any suggestions or other things I can do with the thumbnail arts along those lines, please let me know. I guess one question. For the games, for the game spotlights of any kind, do I still need to include the title in the thumbnail art? Do you think that has any merit whatsoever, or should I just leave that space open for just more of the gameplay on there? Let me know in the comments below. But let's get today's Critical Thought. It is Valentine's Day, so for those of you with a loved one, I hope you are celebrating it well. For those of us who are dateless, well, happy Tuesday. I figure in honor of the holiday, for today's Critical Thought, I want to talk about one of my favorite, relationships I've seen in a video game. And this is from the game Odin Sphere. A few weeks ago, we did a Critical Thought regarding 2D game design, and I completely forgot about this one. Odin Sphere was developed by Vanillaware, and really is a quintessential example of a big budget 2D game. The artwork for this game is amazing, and you're not going to see this on an indie developer budget anytime soon. And what the game did that was very interesting in terms of its story is that you play as 5 different characters, but the 5 characters all basically operate within the same story, but at different parts of it. So when you're playing through the game with one character, they may be interacting with this event, and this event, while another one may be doing this one, and that one. And they'll fight similar. They may fight the same boss, but it will be at different points in the story, or fighting them in a different way. And that's kind of how the storytelling worked with Odin Sphere. So you'll have one character going through the story, and they may meet one of the other 4 characters and get into a fight or help them out. And then when you play as that character, you'll have that situation, but you're playing it from their point of view. So the story that I like from Odin Sphere has to do with the first character, which you can see in the screenshot, her, and I think the only other male character who I am forgetting their names. It's been a few years since I played the game. So her story is basically it's a loose take on Norse mythology. So her father is Odin. That was the big guy in the screenshot. And during a major battle, she basically does something he doesn't like. And to punish her, he basically says that she's going to be wedded off to whoever he deems fit to either earn him political power or gain something in return or something like that. And so he's going to put a love spell on her that when she wakes up, the first person she sees, she'll be madly in love. Think of it as something a Midsummer's Night Dream kind of situation. So she goes to sleep, and this is the first character the player is going to be choosing, or the only one that's available. So she goes to sleep. We assume it's only been a few hours. The game never tells us exactly how long has passed. She wakes to find that she has been betrothed to the guy that she just fought in the earlier battle. So, obviously conflict ensues there. And for the rest of her story, she's basically conflicted with the fact that she's falling in love with the guy, but she's not sure if it's really feelings or this spell. And then during that point, she decides to basically betray him for her father, thinking that it will remove the love spell and, she'll get back into their good graces. And it doesn't. And I'm simplifying this, 1, because it is very spoiler-filled, and 2, because if I go into the whole detail, we'll be here for 15-20 minutes easily. And So she betrays him, and in return, he basically sacrifices himself to basically. It's a very long, complicated thing with him basically, on one hand, serving the undead queen of the world, but at the same time, he's fighting her. Again, we don't have the time to get into that today. Plus, you guys gotta celebrate Valentine's Day. You don't want to hear me waxing on for the next 20 minutes there. But he basically goes to sacrifice himself. She decides to fight for him, and when you beat her story, she wins. And she, at the end, figures that if her feelings are either fake or real, she doesn't care. She loves him regardless. They live happily ever after because there is a final conflict that happens after you beat all the other stories, but again, we can't get into that right now. So basically, her story, it conditions the player to think that this guy is bad. You know, it's the classic love potion trope. She doesn't really love him, etc., etc. And then we come back, I want to say 3 or 4 characters later, because you basically play each character one at a time. And so now we're playing from his point of view. And this guy, basically, he's a lot more of a melee fighter, he's faster, and the story goes with him that we see things from his point of view. That when she gets put into the deep sleep, he goes to Odin to either fight him or do something for him. And he basically will exchange his daughter's hand to this guy. Now, the guy's story, basically because he was sort of enslaved by the undead, has a thing against people being forced to do something against their will. So he says that he'll basically take her, but he doesn't want her to basically be under the spell. So a good portion of his story is basically him trying to break the love spell before waking her up. And so we're basically seeing everything that happened between when she goes to sleep and when she gets awakened in the first story that the player played as. And basically, this guy does a whole lot of stuff. He fights a dragon. He fights the another underworld lord. I think it's like a fire world kind of situation. And he basically goes through hell and back to break the spell. And he eventually does do that. And then his story, I think, ends with him waking her up. And it's kind of like that very interesting juxtaposition that for the majority of the game, if you only play through the first story, then this seems very much like, the woman's being forced to fall in love with him, and, again, going back to that love potion trope. But when we see the full story, we realize that her feelings for him weren't manufactured, even though the father never tells her that the love potion doesn't work. And the father in the game, again, without going too far into things, is a real SOB. And we could easily spend a few minutes talking about that as well. But I thought that was just a very interesting twist on that kind of love potion trope, and the fact that it really manipulates the player in a sense, in a good way, that you expect the story to be this one way, and if you only play through her story and see through her point of view, that this is how things were. But Odin Sphere, I think, did a really good job of telling one story 5 different ways, and letting you appreciate these characters. And even though you fight them as bosses in other situations, you're still seeing what they're going through at their time, and it really helps, I think, ground the story in a sense that it's not just, these 3 characters are good, these 2 characters are just always evil. It really falls again into that shades of gray, and it has a very interesting ending with how they basically each have to pair off to fight their big nemesis. But again, we get into that and we'll be here for another 10 minutes. So this is going to be a quick critical thought, again, because it is the holiday for you folks in love. And I'm going to go take a rest for tonight. It's been a long day of work. But anyway, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you're enjoying this for the first time. And if you have any suggestions for critical thoughts, dissecting designs, or anything like that, be sure to let me know in the comments below. Again, if you don't have any comments or criticism regarding the new thumbnail art, I will go with that for the game-related videos. For stuff like this or the live casts, they will still use the thumbnail art as well as the title card art, because I really don't want to see 100 images of myself in the playlist, and I don't think you guys want to see that either. So, for today, thank you again so much for watching. Have a great Valentine's Day, And maybe next time I will talk about, as a bit of a tease, the one time that I legitimately cried at a video game story. It's not the game that you think, and maybe we'll say that for next time or for next year. Anyway, until tomorrow, have a great night and a great Valentine's Day. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoy it, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and of course share with your friends. It always helps out. For daily posts on all manner of game design and industry topics, check out game-wisdom.com. To support the site and everything that I do, be sure to check out the Patreon campaign. If we can hit goals, it will mean more content for everyone to enjoy, and I'll be able to support myself and my household. If you want to follow me, you can find me on Twitter at GWBicer for updates throughout the day and random thoughts from me. And lastly, you can find me on Twitch right over there at GWBicer for daily streams most nights around 10 Eastern. Thanks again for watching the video, and be sure to check out more great content coming to the Game Wisdom channel real soon.